Hey guys, and welcome back to the Big Podcast Network. This is the Red Show, and as you can see, this is a rather interesting setup, isn't it, boys?
It is.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
We are at Agnes Burgers in Wembley, and we're doing our first mukbang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you very
effectively.
much to Agnes Burgers for letting us do this.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Go
much.
check them out. Obviously, very near Wembley Stadium if you want to get a pre-match snack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even
And I'm
after
not gonna lie,
game.
food looks unbelievable.
Unreal.
Generational
So,
span.
I'm going to start with, I've got tuna crunchy roll and salmon sashimi, and then I'm going to pass to the weirdos who never had sushi before.
I'm
Why would you get
autistic, to
sushi?
be fair, so that's it's a texture thing. I've got a chicken and halloumi wrap with some chips and some onion rings.
I rate that. Halloumi's the best.
Yeah.
I went for a Hawaiian chicken burger, double, obviously, it's me, and some chips.
What do you lot think about pineapple in a burger? I'm not sure.
I hear it. I hear it.
I'm
You
not
know-
sure.
It's nice.
I'm
I've
not
tried it
sure.
before. I love it.
Pineapple is just
Yeah.
nice.
I've not tried it, so I can't judge.
Yeah, that's what, I haven't
I've-
tried it, so I'm not going to judge it.
I've never tried it, so this is my
It's
first
good.
time trying it.
You're on the same.
I've got the
What
same.
have you got?
So I've got chips, and then I've got the Hawaiian hacker. I'm very looking forward to this.
Single. And by the way, I've got sushi.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Skip to you.
I've got tempura. I think it's tempura uramaki, and then also salmon. So I'm happy.
It looks so good. That looks great.
And
I'm
Liam.
happy.
I've got a chicken and halloumi wrap standard. Love it.
Nice.
Nice.
For
I
context,
stand union with Matt.
this seems like quite a strange array of food. The front of the shop is a burger place.
Yep.
The back is a sushi place.
Yeah.
So,
Both owned by the same people, and
I'm gonna dig
just once again, another thanks for letting us record here.
I'm gonna get
The
my
sushi
first-
is kaisu.
Oh my god. That's good. Oh yeah, I haven't even given you the context, guys, of what we're doing. So we are doing the top 10 European leagues, in our opinion. Yeah?
When you eat sushi,
Yeah?
you eat it. The first one you eat it with soy or without.
I had it with soy.
I always eat without just to get the taste of it first.
Fair.
Right, are we getting into our top
Should we get into our top 10s then, boys?
Let's do it.
We'll start from 10th. And my 10th spot is the Austrian League, which I think is fair. You know, you got RB Salzburg, and they're a decent European side. It's just going to get more interesting as we get higher, isn't it? If there's anyone left some names out which might be slightly controversial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Who's your top 10?
Well, you've already said
Go
one.
on, 10th, sorry.
You've already said one that I don't have.
Oh, fair.
I've gone with the Belgium First Division, the Pro League in 10th. They've got a lot of good teams. You've got Club Brugge, you've got Anderlecht, you've got Antwerp, Cercle Bruges. It's a good league. It's competitive.
Well, that's-
They've got teams that sometimes do well in Europe.
I will say they're in my 9th spot.
Yeah, they're a solid league. So
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Agreed.
I think they have to be in there.
Henry?
I've gone for. Bear with me.
Who's never been so happy on a podcast in his life?
Oh, this is my dream. So my number 10 will be the Czech Republic. I think. Yeah, I think so. I think
Interesting.
for a couple of reasons. One, because they're highly ranked by UEFA, and that says something about the development of their league that we don't know. But also because of the kind of quality of the players that have left. There are so many quality Czech players around Europe at the moment, and how well Czech Republic tend to do at European competitions speaks to what the league can produce rather than what it is in particular.
Well, Slavia Prague as well. We drew them in the Europa League a few years ago, and I was thinking, this would be an easy win, and they beat us. They're a good side, so yeah, they definitely have good teams. I think that's fair enough.
Who'd have thought Matt would have brought it back to Leicester, eh?
I did not.
What a
I think West Ham
surprise.
fans will do it.
Slavia Prague.
He's going to mention they won the league in a second.
Yeah, how did he get in the Champions League by any chance?
Yeah, we got the quarterfinals. We beat Club Brugge, one of my Belgian teams. So
Fair
should
enough.
we just keep talking about Leicester?
No,
I think
I
it's
think
more
No
entertaining.
one wants to listen to that.
So my number 10 for the youth stadium in Norway. So already different to you guys. I just think they create, they generate a lot of talent.
I so nearly included it. I so nearly did.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of big players. Holland, the biggest name in recent times. Odegaard came through there. They are competitive in Europe. To be fair, you have Rosenborg. Always in European competition do well. But yeah, I think it's just
That's another one I wanted to include, but I couldn't find space for. But the Danish league is so good. Like, so many players come to England from there, and they do so well. What?
All of them either go to Leicester or Brentford.
We've only had a couple from there.
You better not.
Right, Liam.
So this is in here purely because I want to shout out how good this league is competitively. I've got La Liga 2. They've got different leaders from last time we spoke to them now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Santander's now 4th. Moranes is now 1st. And from 1st to 6th, there's only a 4-point difference. And the games, you go on the games, it's like always 3-0, 2-0. It's competitive and it's like fun to watch. So, yeah, we're just going to put him number 10 just to shout him out.
Yeah.
All different. Well, I mean, my 9th spot is same as Matthew's 10th spot. I've got the Belgium League in. Again, as we said, some really competitive sides in there. One of the top sub-European leagues, I'd say.
Yeah.
So that's why they're getting my spot.
Well, I've actually gone for what a lot of people class as one of the top 5 leagues.
Have you put
In
France?
I have League On in,
Wow.
in 9th. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think this season has been a bit more entertaining, but look at it in previous seasons. How many times have PSG won it in comparison to other teams? It's not as competitive as the others, and I know the quality's high, and there's a lot of good players there. But for me, for a league to be considered one of the best, it has to have so much competition, and I don't think Ligue 1 does.
Okay, I'm going to go next to Button because I got the same as you.
Yeah, see, I knew someone would agree with me. I knew someone would agree.
No, like this season there is a massive gap, and also it's just so long where it was PSG win the league, PSG win the league, PSG win the league. Where I know we've had a couple of seasons now where it's diverse, but there's a reason we call it a farmers league. Okay, there is a reason.
And you're French.
Yes, I can say this.
I'm going to tell you all right now. It's not on my list.
I didn't expect it to be in your list.
It's not on my list.
You have to have it on your list, I think, though, because it's a top 5. It is a top 5 league.
Nah, not on my list.
Clearly not for us. It's a top 5 league.
Out of the 6, I've gone for League 9th or below.
Yeah.
For leagues.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That is insane. Oh shit.
You think? Who's your number 9 is the Championship. I think
That low?
We all bang on about the Premier League and how good it is. Actually, I reckon a lot of Championship sides could do well in Europe.
So you think that low for the Championship?
Do you mean across European leagues or in Europe?
I reckon they could. A Championship side would win the Europa League. I reckon
What?
we'll be, or at least be competitive.
Even Premier League teams struggle with that.
No, you're wrong there. Leeds are the best team in the Championship this
Premier
season,
League
and they're
teams
nowhere
struggle in the
near.
Europa League.
I mean, they could do it.
What am I hearing?
That is crazy, Henry.
My number 9 is the Swedish league. Staying in. Once again, just great team. Some of them are consistent in Europe, do well in Europe.
I'll try it.
I think, Norway 10, Sweden 9.
Thank you, bro.
Happy with that. Yep. Right, I've gone for the Turkish league in 9. The drama of the night, like bringing Jose Mourinho in is massive for the league, and I just think some of the quality players that you've got in Turkey, it is a competitive league. Everyone does well in Europe in recent times, and I still think it's a quality.
I took it out last minute because I think the Belgian league has more quality teams, but I think the Turkish league is really high quality. I was debating it. I think if you look at the amount of players who've come to big European clubs from the Turkish league compared to the Belgian league, there's more in the Belgian league, I'd say. I think it produces more talent.
Turkey had Drogba.
Ziyech.
Pardon?
Mertens.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's not quality there, but
Zaha's like
It's
current.
not in my 10, but I'm still saying.
Wow. What?
I'm regretting it now, but
Yeah, I've already done my number 9, but I've got Turkey number 8, so I guess we'll lead on from that.
yeah.
Similar points to what we've just made. I think the quality of players they have is actually pretty good. And, you know, historically, they're pretty like a team. You play in a European, maybe more like a Europa League, and you're not guaranteed to get through them. Obviously, Mourinho in there brings more prestige to the league. He's gone through controversy and all that, but yeah, I think it's just better than the French league for a start.
who's your ninth? French?
9th is French, 8th
Right,
is
yeah.
Turkey. And I think the Turkish league's a better watch. Obviously, you got more competitive teams. You got Besiktas, Galatasaray. So that's why I got him number 8.
Lloyd, do you want to continue?
Going this way, though.
Yeah, changing it up.
Changing it up.
Also, Henry's already finished his food.
Oh, wow.
I slowed down because I didn't want to be the first to finish.
I was going to be the first bench right there. You are about that.
In number 8, I do have the Belgian league, actually. So I do have that above the Turkish league. But the only reason for that is that I just feel like Turkish sides' failures in Europe over the previous few seasons have sort of hindered that. But I mean, again, you look at it now. What is it? Club Rouge. They're in the round of 16 of the Champions League this season. I mean, it looks like they're going to get knocked out by Villa. By the time this will be out, they'll probably be eliminated. But they reached the round of 16. They beat Atalanta in the playoff round, which was a massive achievement. I just think over the past few seasons, in terms of European quality, who's performed better, I think it's been the Pro League.
So, in Heath, I've got the Danish league. I've kind of got the Scandinavians in kind of the bottom 3. As I mentioned before, someone else has said it, but create great talent, national team always producing. All of the big clubs kind of throughout, the world have Danish players, good quality players. Sporting, we're doing well. Have a Danish midfield. You look at, best player Nesta is Danish. So I just think they create great quality youngsters, do well internationally, and always, Copenhagen's always around Champions League. So I think it's got.
Yeah.
Where will we be tomorrow, Jamie? As of recording.
You'll look on social media for the Blue Podcast. We will be at Chelsea for the Chelsea Copenhagen game. We'll do some stream reviews. Might do a Monday vlog. We'll see how it is.
In reality, this will probably be out about a month after
Yeah,
that
probably.
game, but yeah,
Look for us.
the content will be there.
100%.
Cool. I'm going to go with Belgium. I think, again, you look at their exports, and it is fantastic. I think the Anderlecht Academy is one of the best in Europe. The system they have in place there is taken years to implement. It is very good at picking up young talent from around Belgium. Look at the Lukaku brothers, Dries Mertens, a bunch of other players have come through that. I haven't got time to mention. Vincent Company being another one.
The Hazard brothers.
The Hazard brothers, Jesus Christ, yeah. Which is amazing. I think you could expect a little bit more from them in Europe, especially given how good the Anderlecht Academy is. They tend to lose their talents quite early, and that's why they're not higher on this list. But I still think it is quality.
Yeah. I think I'm going to get really, really slated for this one because it's a league that has some of the biggest clubs in the world. I've gone for La Liga.
Are you stupid?
In 8th.
Get out.
In 8th.
My ranking for this list is a lot about being competitive and
What?
Let me finish. Let me finish. The leagues above this, in my opinion, if I had to choose like a league to follow, like based on the table and the competition at the top, La Liga wouldn't be
Okay,
above
Barcelona's
any
on
of these.
57 points, Real Madrid's on 57 points, Atletico
This
Madrid's
year,
on
but
56
this year is
points.
exciting. Most of the years in the past, if you take away the Messi and Ronaldo era, most of those years aren't that
What, the
exciting.
majority of the last few years.
Sharon, who was sitting in the booth next to us, I think she got up and just come over and she looked
If
I
you look
can't
at
believe it.
if you look at the list,
My take's bad.
Yeah, that's pretty
if you
bad.
look, if you look at the competition in the leagues above, most seasons these have more leaders and more quality.
No.
I thought I'd put them quite low.
That's
This is
insane.
ridiculous.
That's a shocking take.
I've got the championship at 8th.
See, I think that's really low. I think that's ridiculously low.
No, look at the rest of the leagues
You
above,
put the championship
bro.
above.
Hang on, he has done, hasn't he? Because
What?
the championship's not been pulled up yet. If you the championship, you're
It's not about quality. It's about competition.
Okay,
But it's competitive. Athletic Club, Real Sociedad, Real Betis, Villarreal.
and look how they do in Europe as well.
I understand your point.
The mo-
I understand your point, but
Mate,
the
mate.
Champions Leagues take it.
There are three.
Which
there are
team has won the most Europa Leagues? Sevilla.
Sorry.
all I'm saying.
Real Madrid.
Yeah. No, but all I'm saying.
Play for Barcelona.
Yeah, but yes, I know all this, but I'm not talking about that competition. I'm saying you look at that league. There are 2 or 3 teams that are going to win that every season. There are only 2 or 3 teams that realistically are ever going to win
Where are
it.
you putting the Prem?
We'll get into that. we'll get
They're
into
not much higher.
Was that 8?
Oh, we haven't put the Prem top.
Oh no.
Wow.
7?
I said championship.
Is that 7? Yeah.
That was 8.
Oh, is it? Okay. Who's your 7 as well?
My 7. My 7. That's where I put Liga. Yeah. Which I think, like, when you look at the other ones above, the next 3 could very easily change. And the top 4 are pretty nailed on. But they could also... they wouldn't change that much. Yeah, I mean, as we said, Championship's a really competitive league. I do think in terms of entertainment and the players they produce, phenomenal. Yeah. Your takes are invalid. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're not talking to you anymore.
But yeah, Championship 8th and Liga at 7th, because I think we can all agree that you're not going to enjoy watching
We're not
that.
going to talk to you anymore.
Well, it's just the have PSG have now won the most Liga with 12.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all of them were at least in the last 15 to 20
Yeah.
years. All of the last 15 years.
Like,
Like, you know what I mean? You know, it's nice when people are saying, "Oh, it's a lovely break. Monaco won the league." It's a break when they win the league. Lille, yeah.
and then Lyon are going down to the second division anyway. Yeah.
There seems to be a thing with clubs going bust in France.
Yeah, there's no money. They barely have a TV deal in place
Yeah.
for this season. They're sponsored
That's
by
what I mean. It
McDonald's.
seems like they've not got much money in that league.
McDonald's is fitting because it's a league of clowns. That's exactly what it is, and there's a reason why I didn't get into my top 10. Wouldn't pay to watch it.
I've gone for the National League.
Okay, right, we're
Right.
moving on.
Let me explain it. Let me explain it, right? Look at the amount of money on the line for clubs that don't go up and clubs that come up, and you've got 2 slots. That I would argue that storyline wise, the National League is one of the most exciting leagues you can
Why are
get.
people complaining about the National League because Wrexham won in it?
You can't believe this.
Because right,
So
if you look right, there's the season.
No,
Right,
mate.
Shush.
look at the season Wrexham came up. Notts County got nearly 100 points, and they nearly didn't get promoted.
And
They
at
were-
number 6, I put Sunday League Football.
No, but you've got to look at the lower leagues in other countries.
I understand personal preference has to come into it, but this is crossing a fucking line.
It's not.
I work in the National League.
No, you work in the National League North.
It's all part of the same thing.
Well, I'm talking about specifically the National League.
I work.
I think this is one of the
I
most...
work in these
Yeah,
divisions.
but I'm not talking anything about the.
I love them.
I'm not saying
Guys,
anything about the
let's
quality.
Try not to talk over each
I'm
other.
just
There's 6 of us.
I'm just saying competition-wise, nothing about the quality. It's not about the quality to me. It's about the competition.
Right. Okay. Now shut up.
Henry next.
I am gonna piss you off because I'm gonna go with the Eredivisie. I switched this last minute. I just think
So who else is in this league? Have you put Championship in your top 10?
no. I've always said Championship. The
Who's above?
No, hold on.
You figure it out.
No, sorry.
Championship was 9th.
Who's above right now?
Him out. We'll get into it.
Because you haven't even got Liga in your list.
Yeah.
Let me just get your specification, please. Just explain.
There's not.
It was a last
16
minute swap, right? It was from 7th to 5th. So those 3 teams were very close. But someone speaking about a different league has convinced me that I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I understand the concept now. Again, kind of personal preference, but also the quality of the teams in the league. I think Ajax are elite club, and then PSV and Feyenoord are pretty much elite clubs. But outside of that,
You drew with them this year.
but that's a number of places that you have in Europe. Like, if you didn't have that many places, they wouldn't get to Europe. Have they won any titles?
We have 3 European spots. What are you on about?
That's what I'm saying.
For how many teams?
Henry, speaking to the microphone.
Right. So there are bigger clubs in other leagues that I've decided to put above. But again, it's very tough.
You know we're judging the league, not the clubs.
Yeah, but that.
Yeah, but the leagues are judged off of their competitiveness, not their quality.
This is a
to
little
me.
bit personal preference, I'm not gonna
Guys,
lie.
can I
I
just
wasn't even
move over to
talking
your
to
side,
you. Why do you
please?
feel offended?
Can I move over there? This is outrageous.
7th above the Super League of Turkey. Right. I think good quality, always good for this era. Massive names have gone this year to the Super League specifically. And
You can do it. It's fine.
National League. Like, let's have our own corner.
Can I come over? Can I come over?
Come over.
Don't row me in with him.
I've gone for League One. in 7th. I think it is, don't get me wrong, I think it gets a lot more hate than I think it should do. Of course, PSG, they do win the league every single season, pretty much. There are a lot of good teams in that league who do play good football and
Do well in Europe.
yeah, exactly. Like, you know, Brest finished inside the top, was it the top 15, top first to 24? There's no way you're laughing at that.
Wait, all of you laughed?
Yes. He laughed. I
You
laughed
all
at Henry.
laughed. Oh, I didn't
laughed
laugh.
at Henry.
I don't want to hear anything from you.
Yeah, I don't care what you say anymore.
She better not find out about this video. Jesus Christ.
What's the score right now?
It's 1-1 aggregate. Is the game playing
Yeah,
now?
the game's playing now.
It's 1-0 at the moment.
So Lille could knock out Dortmund. So,
Yeah, we're having a bad year.
for me, putting this 7th even feels a little bit harsh. Because I think the leagues are
Actually,
actually a lot closer from 5th to 7th than people.
That's why you can't have the championship above League.
Yeah, they're not. The championship is not top 7. It's not.
Well,
It's not.
Mental.
no, it's not. The championship is in my list, but not yet.
Okay.
No.
How high have you got it?
No, I'll explain my reasoning because it's not going to be from like the.
Yeah, but Matt, we might actually listen to Liam's reasoning, not yours.
So for my number 7, I got the Liga Portugal. I understand you probably think a bit low. I get that. It's just I personally don't watch it for a start, so that's going to affect my rankings.
I think Eredivisie and Premier League are pretty.
Yeah,
similar
I think
level.
they're around similar, but they're both should,
I'd
they
say
should
that.
be higher for us.
Obviously,
I do think that Portugal's better. It's a better league. That's
I agree.
you produce the production of players better than in the Eredivisie. Just
Portugal
Just-
national team have had a better time recently than the Holland national team.
I'm gonna
Yeah, but there's more money in that, isn't there?
I'm gonna get into it later. Right. Okay.
but obviously it's competitive. We got Sporting, Benfica, Porto, European presences.
Yeah.
That helps. But obviously, it's my ranking. I don't really watch the league, but
Fair
obviously of the prestige of the league itself, that's what makes it there.
Yeah,
Okay.
fair,
What have you
fair.
got for 6 then?
Six. Am I got?
Yeah,
we
go
ba-
six,
we
yeah,
bounce-
six.
Okay, 6. I've got the Eredivisie.
Okay.
Again, similar reason, but I think Ajax itself is a bigger European threat than all the
Well, so
teams
you
in
said you got the
Portugal.
championship in yours, so you got the championship higher than those two.
Yeah.
I think that's worse than some of my takes.
No, you.
Personally,
Championship higher than what? Sorry?
higher than those
Eredivisie and
two.
Portugal.
He's got it higher than those two.
But sorry, I'm
See,
just
I told you,
I'm-
yeah, see?
Can I just say it's still not as bad as the National League being in here full
no.
stop.
No, it's not. But
That's
that's
the
still
worst take.
That's still that's a pretty poor take.
What have you got then?
6 for me. I do go for the Eredivisie. I think it's a good. I think it's a good league. As I said, I think 5th to 7th. It's all quite similar. It's. I don't think it's outrageous to say, but it's a good league. You got
You're missing a
Ajax, Feyenoord,
I'm not missing-
PSV,
I'm missing France, but you
AZ
know what?
Alkmaar. You know, you got a lot of good teams in there. Twente, Utrecht, of course, this season doing pretty well. It's a good league, and you guys have been doing decently well in Europe over the years. Of course, Ajax that semi-final, almost getting to the final.
Don't talk about
But you know, yeah, I think 6th place. I think it's a good league. It's got some really quality players in there.
My 6th, I've gone Portugal. I think only because outside of the top 3, I don't know. I just feel like the rest of the league is a bit weaker. Whereas I feel like the Eredivisie, as you've named more clubs already that are actually a threat consistently in Europe. But yeah, so yeah, my 6th is Liga Portugal.
Yeah.
Cool. My number 6 is the club that you can't figure out. The league that you can't figure out what it is. Yeah, all right, calm down, mate.
You're trying to insult him. You've just insulted yourself, basically, by completely messing that up.
Right. Just tell us.
My number 6 is Turkey.
Sixth?
That's the team you can figure out.
Wow.
I really rate this league, and it's specifically its pulling power. I look at the Portuguese league and the Eredivisie, and I think, okay, their clubs are a higher standard and have done more in Europe. But I would say the Turkish clubs, the players in the Turkish league, are a much higher ability level than those two leagues. And there's a reason why I haven't said Portugal yet. We'll come on to that. But I just think if you're able to attract a player like Osimhen to your league, that's just ridiculous. I know his situation is a bit iffy, but something about it that just makes me go, okay. And also, like, it's always theatre. I know it's really a violent league. Everyone's angry at each other, and it's funny to watch from an outside.
Have you seen like Turkish football Twitter?
Yeah,
It's
mad,
great.
yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
lovely
No,
entertainment.
The mad thing to me is whenever I see a Turkish player join an English club, they like all you see is the fans of the Turkish fans coming in and
Yeah.
commenting the Turkish
Yeah.
fans all the posts.
I respect the
Yeah,
fans'
exactly.
commitment. The
They
fact
They are
The
commissioned,
passion.
man.
honestly, going to a game in Turkey is so good. I went to a Galatasaray game. Incredible atmosphere. I think one of the best in Europe by far.
Also, I'd say there are 4 massive teams, whilst in Holland and Portugal there are only 3.
Braga.
And that Braga is.
Utrecht.
I'd still put Braga below all those 4 of those teams. I don't know. It's very tight. Like I said.
Braga and Utrecht are both bigger, I would say.
Who wins, Braga or Utrecht? Because I'd say Braga wins that
I
game.
say
Braga.
Utrecht.
Yeah.
This season Utrecht win.
This season, Utrecht, but overall, Braga.
But then also, I think both are better than Besiktas now. Besiktas now are not as good.
No,
as
Have you seen
when they were before?
Have you seen Besiktas' form at the moment?
I just still don't think they're.
The script of the Oli versus Jose thing is just I'm loving it.
No, that's just because you're United, man. I don't want to hear it.
There is some personal preference in this as well.
Matt, what's your
But
opinion?
I think that when it comes down to this,
I can't believe I heard that out of your mouth.
Matt, what's your opinion?
Right.
Matt, what was your number 6?
I wanted to put this so much higher, but the
The
championship.
Greek league.
The championship. Right, name me another league though in Europe that has basically every season got 3 different teams going at either end. Like it's, I know that's the nature of it with it being a second
Norway.
division, but
Sweden,
I
Denmark.
also for me
Czech Republic.
it's the play.
Do you want me to continue?
Yeah, I'm finished. And also, I was going to say, and also a team that has a league that has playoffs in it, because I think the playoffs are one of the most exciting
Norway.
events in football.
Sweden.
You know, what are the playoffs for?
European competition.
Yeah, but I think promotion to the Premier League for the clubs in the Championship, that is a bigger
I
deal.
will say the most valuable trophy you can win is the
Playoff final.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like,
In England, yeah.
Doesn't make
No,
it the
no,
best
no.
league.
The reason the Championship for
The
me,
most money.
the reason for me the Championship is so high,
logistically.
is because the Championship, the playoffs, I think are one of the most exciting things in football. Full stop. Like oh, that looks good to me.
Sorry,
mid
Do
podcast.
you want to explain what you got quickly?
I just got prawn tempura. Basically, I was
bro,
going to get
bro,
it before,
bro, bro.
decided not to, and
Broski,
got it now.
broski, please.
Can you leave me alone?
Can I have one, please? Can I have one? Henry can't. He doesn't like sushi.
True.
I like
Yeah,
Tempura
true.
abroad, it's different.
No, but yeah,
The only thing I'd order from that menu.
going back to what I was saying though, the playoffs I actually would say is probably my favourite thing in all of football. It's what I look forward to in the season, unless we're in it, which I don't like watching them because it's horrible to watch if you're in it. But the playoffs are so exciting; it has to be high. It has to be on your list at least a championship, because it's so exciting. The playoffs.
I don't think it's a top 10 league.
I love the
But
championship.
The
but
playoffs are so exciting, and the league quality as well. Anyone on their day can go and beat anyone. Portsmouth beat league leaders Leeds the other day, having just come up from League One. We could be playing Wrexham next season. We've won the Premier League 10 years ago. We're getting relegated.
I told you he'd mention it. I
We're
told
getting
you.
relegated from the Premier League, and we could be
Hey,
playing.
we got there.
In 3 years' time, a
Right.
team that was in the Premier League could be playing a team that was in the National League 3 years later.
Let me just say
That
something.
can happen at any
You're
division.
both wrong. It's
That
not. It can't be that
happens
high.
more in England, though.
It
It does
can't be
happen
that
more,
high.
yes,
But
yeah.
also, it is 100% a top.
I don't think it's a top 10 league.
I
It's
disagree
a top
with
10
both.
league.
I
for
think there's a
sure.
There is a
lot,
balance
there's a lot
between
of
the-
quality
both you were
around
saying.
Europe, and I don't know.
I
It
can't.
is.
I
In
can't
my
just.
opinion, it's a top 10 league.
I
in terms
cannot.
of what it brings.
I guess in
for
terms of if you want to say
And also,
entertainment
I'm
and
just gonna say Dortmund
competitiveness,
just
Yeah.
scored.
but for me in terms of quality, I think
I know,
there's
but
10,
I'm not
there's 10
talking
better.
quality.
But this depends how you judge.
None
a
of my list is judged
fully.
on quality. All of my list is competitiveness.
Well, that's fair enough. I mean,
That's the thing.
I'm
I've judged it on competitiveness.
I'm judging it
alone.
on quality.
I'm just playing how I want to do it.
But this is what I mean. Mine is all competitiveness and like how enjoyable it is to watch. And the championship for me, anyone can beat anyone. It's
I
so
still-
exciting.
I
But
still-
it can't go higher than the other leagues, really.
There's ranking them, and then there's which ones you prefer to watch. And I think you've just gone the other route with this. You've just gone what you'd prefer to go and see.
Potentially, yeah. Yeah.
Prefer to watch the National League to La Liga.
I disagree
It
with
depends.
that.
If you're talking in a stadium or on TV. If you're
Right.
talking in the stadium, obviously it's La Liga because I'm in Spain. But the National League, I love watching because, again, anyone can beat anyone. Whereas if you're watching Barcelona play
Yeah.
Vallecano,
Okay.
you know who's going to win that game.
Okay.
It's still one of the worst things we've ever heard.
Anyway,
Okay.
who's
Awful
next?
take.
You.
Me.
Yeah,
Yes.
6.
Eredivisie. I mean, we all
How
know
high
what
you
my
put it?
next 6 are going to be. I think.
Let's put it number 1.
Like, well, including that one.
How high? have you
Right.
put it?
We all know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
We know it's good. Like, we know what my next probably 5 are.
Yeah.
So, I don't really need to explain it. We've already spoken about it. Eredivisie at 6.
I think all
And
of us
then-
have the next 5. the
Drum
same.
roll, please. We're in a league in 5.
Yeah.
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 Who would've
It's all
thought that?
very
Yeah.
close
Yeah.
to Jackson, this one.
As I said, I think obviously I'm a bit biased, having done obviously a lot of research into them for the Portuguese league. I think this season's been really entertaining, with actually a lot of competitiveness, especially a few of the promoted sides have been really good. Who was it? Santa Clara have been really good this season as well. Braga now on equal points with Porto. Benfica, if they win the game in hand, are on equal points with Sporting. So that's first place and third place deciding right now with no points difference between the four sides. Like it's really good.
I'm going to jump in here because Mike also got the Liga Portugal in 5.
Oh, so do I. All three of us do. That's
Nice. I'd say
I still don't want to be here.
there's a few
Doesn't
points.
make you friends.
Wait, the only two of us. Yeah, fine. I'd say a couple of points. I'd say first of all, this is the league that produced Cristiano Ronaldo, which is massive. Like that's just ridiculous. 2, I'd say Portugal have been way more successful as an international team. They've won something.
How
What
much
does
does the national
international-
team?
I don't think
what
international team
what
has
does the
something to do
national
with
team
it.
have to do with the league?
What is the league produces players? The players play for the national team. The national team.
Well, no, because all I'd say is the English national team is probably one of the only ones where most of the players play in their league. Maybe Spain as well, but a lot of Italian players play across Europe.
Yeah, but most of them have come through an Italian academy and then moved on.
It's a good point.
Yeah, it's a point.
So it's
Yeah,
not-
okay,
it's
okay,
that's what you
100%
mean. No,
it's-
I-
Well,
if that's what you mean,
look,
I get
look,
it.
look at the Dutch league. A lot of players in the national team come through the Dutch league, but go and play
Yeah.
for.
I
bigger
guess
teams.
so.
No, I
guess
understand what you
When
mean now, that's my
when
bad.
Yeah, I understand that.
Excuse me. When you compare with the Eredivisie and the Turkish league, which is the two that I was comparing it with, you'd go Turkish league never won a European trophy as far as I'm aware, or maybe Europa League at some point. It's been a long time. The Eredivisie was Ajax, and that was years ago. Porto won it in the 2000s. Won the Champions League.
Yeah.
That is incredibly.
Yeah, that
difficult thing to
Mourinho
do.
team was
That,
crazy.
yeah, that was a crazy
It was
team.
ridiculous. I think again,
But I
that's
do
just
think-
it gives you that edge.
Yeah,
In
with-
more recent years, you've been close to having a Dutch winner than you have a Portuguese winner.
Yeah, but
But
we're
if you-
going overall here anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
with my-
and if you say that Sporting is the best team in that league right now, if you say that, you also have Porto and Benfica there, and I'd say Porto and Benfica would beat either Feyenoord or PSV.
My reasoning for 5th and 4th is
So sorry.
I don't watch most the two leagues I got 5th and 4th. So I got Liga Portugal 5th. I'll say 4th later, obviously, but I don't watch much of them. But I know they're very competitive leagues, and looking at the
British.
tables, I know more about the teams in the league in 4th than I do the league in 5th. I know the top 4 in the Liga Portugal, but then the teams after that I don't know as well. Whereas the team in 4th, this isn't making any sense. to me.
Yeah, no, keep it going. Basically,
Basically, I know
Jamie eats the ends of the prawns.
I'm more.
Right, no.
Oh, right. I'm. Yeah. To me, the teams in the other league are more well known and they're more prolific.
Yeah.
And this league has to be this high though because it's a very high quality league.
Cool.
And it's competitive this year. Like as you said, is it how
Yeah.
much is it between the top 4? 3
6
points?
6 points
6
between
points,
them.
yeah. Like that's crazy.
But basically, two teams fighting for first on the same points and two teams battling for third. in some
yeah,
games.
that's the kind of league I want to watch.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right.
In
Jamie?
5th, I've got MLS.
What?
That's
not
not
in
European
Europe.
league.
I'm joking. I went Eredivisie. I went Eredivisie.
Okay, good.
As I
was
said,
gonna say.
yeah, I think the main reason for me, as I said, is you've been closer to having a Dutch Champions League winner than a Portuguese, than a Turkish, and I think that for me
If you go
personally,
24
helps
years
push
back,
it
that's not true.
Yeah, but in terms of who's been closer to Champions League final, close to winning it, it's been a it's been a Dutch team. And I do also think the quality of players produced by the Eredivisie is incredible.
Who the hell have you
Hey,
got in
Cristiano
fourth?
Ronaldo.
I've just realised that. If you haven't got La Liga, who's your fourth team?
I still don't think. I just think that. But okay, cool. Ronaldo's one player, but overall, I think Dutch generate better players. Even looking at historically,
Yeah.
I think historically the Dutch
Eusebio,
team. Yeah.
Figo.
Okay,
Yeah.
but historically you've had better Seedorf.
Yeah.
You know, looking
the
at
team-
Bergkamp,
the team's crazy.
Van Nistelrooy.
Hey.
Van Persie.
Yeah, Van Persie.
Right now,
Cruyff.
Van Dijk.
Yeah, Cruyff, Van Dijk, Kout,
Yeah.
Schneider. You
Well,
know.
I wouldn't quite put Counts in the same.
I-
bracket
But
as
in
those
terms
players,
of, you know,
but yeah.
in terms of quality players,
Yeah.
list goes on.
Hey,
And I-
no disrespect to Turk County.
No, just I wouldn't put him in the same bracket.
No, I'm not putting
as
the
some
same
of the
bra-
players that
As
were
Pulisic.
yeah. No, I was joking.
Of course, he's not in the same bracket, but he's still incredible.
Yes, he is, yeah.
You know, Van Dijk is even. But I just think just because of that,
Schneider.
for me, it's more. Yeah, I said Schneider already.
Good.
Leave my food alone, man. Like genuinely.
Agree.
But I think that's the reason why it's fifth. It kind of has to be, but yeah.
Lloydius Maximus.
Liga Portugal. I don't need to say any more. I feel like it's been discussed
Yeah,
enough,
yeah.
so we can quickly move on.
Okay, just missing out the Champions League, so this is why for the championship. But this is just for me purely enjoying watching the league. I'm not saying it's a,
completely valid.
I'm not saying it's a
You too.
championship team could walk into a European tournament and win.
Sorry, did he say that on camera before we started?
I did say that on camera, and I stand by it. Yeah,
He said that on camera.
I think it could be competitive.
I would
If you
not
put
say-
Leeds in the Europa League, I reckon it's competitive. I reckon it gets to later stages. 100%.
No.
No.
Look at some of the teams. Let me quickly get up the Europa
No,
League.
That shows me you don't watch.
let's-
You don't watch it
we
enough.
we don't want to be boring the viewers.
Liverpool just got knocked out in round of 16.
Yeah.
You don't.
To
That shows me you don't
PSG.
watch it enough.
I do
So
want
why are we
teams
saying a
in
championship
it.
club can do that?
That's what I'm saying. They can't.
They can't,
I
exactly.
reckon they can.
Yeah, the Championship club, if they played PSG, would get demolished.
Exactly.
Mate,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Europa League.
But even
Still,
still,
Okay,
still.
fine.
but even still,
Fine.
Athletic Club, Lazio.
A team like Brentford
Chelsea
would
are in the
struggle.
fucking Conference League.
But a team like Brentford would
Copenhagen
struggle in
could be
Europe, and they're much better than Leeds.
Chelsea are in the Conference League, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I don't think Fulham would do that well in Europe. They're levels above Leeds. That's what I mean. Like these lower level Prem teams wouldn't do.
I'm
very
sorry,
well.
but genuinely, even if Leeds come up against Copenhagen, Copenhagen are beating.
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
There's no question
I
about
disagree with that.
All right, what's your next one?
I've put the Bundesliga. I've put them there, fourth, yeah. Obviously, European giants.
Yeah.
You got Dortmund, bit of an off-season. You got Bayern Munich. At the moment, you got Bayern Leverkusen as well. That's doing really well. I think the quality of the league is... Obviously, I think it's a better quality league than the Championship. That's not what I'm debating. I'm just saying my personal preferences. But, yeah, pretty much European success in the leagues. It's entertaining to watch. You've got players coming out of it all the time. Most of the time they end up at the Prem, then move back eventually.
I mean,
But,
apart from Matt, we've all got the same 4 teams in the top 4, right?
I think everyone's got them in 4.
We'll see. We'll see.
I presume so.
So like, this is again,
But-
this is very tight at the top 4. So it's.
It's not as tight as you
Not
think.
really.
I think it is.
yeah.
I think Bundesliga is
Right.
quite
What's
close.
Lloyd gone?
I disagree completely.
Fourth place, Bundesliga.
Yeah.
As well. I think there's, as you said, there's a lot of good teams in there. I mean, Bayern, of course. I mean, they dominate the Bundesliga for the majority of the seasons. Bayer Leverkusen, of course, coming through. Leipzig have been competing at times. I mean, Mainz are in third, so that's incredibly impressive. And then, of course, you have like the likes of Union Berlin qualify for the Champions League. Stuttgart. You know, it is a competitive league, and it deserves to be in the top 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna third that opinion. Bundesliga in 4th. I think some of the other leagues just have a couple more teams that properly fight.
Yeah.
In terms of like bigger, and also historically, I think you look at the other 3 main leagues. I think they have a lot more push in terms of the league and in Europe. It is kind
And
of
history.
exactly, but also if it's not Bayern Munich, Dortmund are probably not going to win a Champions League. They got to the Champions League final last year, but they had an easy run in comparison.
And they did well as well. That was like landmark achievement for them.
And that was with one of
That's-
their worst teams.
That's what I
in
mean.
history, so-
To be fair, on Dortmund's point, they actually won 1 at the moment, so they are actually at this moment in time, I'm pretty sure, going through.
Drawing.
No,
Yeah, I think
sorry,
so.
yeah, they're drawing. Sorry, at the moment. But just back to the point where they're struggling against a French side that we've all said is below the league. So that kind of just says it all. That's why I can't put it in top 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
Henry?
please don't judge the Bundesliga based on Dortmund right now. We are shockingly
It's
shit.
not the only.
It's not about that. It's the
But
rest
I
of the league.
have put La Liga in. Again, I'm going to emphasise the point that all 4 of these leagues are above the rest and are very tight.
I'm not hearing it. I don't want to listen to
How
anyone.
are you putting a league with the 2 greatest sides of all time?
In 4th. It's
In
crazy.
I know.
I speak.
Yeah.
Matt, you
I
can't
think
speak full
this
stop.
one- This one comes down to a little bit more personal preference. Again, you take me about 5 years back, I'd probably put it first. But
5?
no Messi, no Ronaldo now. I know they've still got some of the greatest players in the world. I know.
you are a nostalgia merchant.
Fraud.
Wait, says the guy, as we always say, he only started watching football in 2016.
But
Exactly.
look at some of the financial.
Wait, 5 years ago, you don't even watch them for 3 years.
5 years ago, he only started watching football.
Dortmund have scored. I'm just going to put that out. But look at some of the financial issues across La Liga right now. I don't know Real Madrid are all right, but look at Barca, look at Atletico Madrid.
No, that doesn't.
That doesn't know. That's
It
the,
depends how you're making your list. Because if you're
different
making it
because-
all round quality, then fair enough. But mine's just on
No,
enjoyment.
I'm not hearing it though because
I'm not hearing
you look at like for example
I'm not much.
Atletico beat pretty much any Bundesliga club, maybe bar Bayern Munich, possibly Bayern Leverkusen.
So all your lists on quality then? Is that how you've done it?
I've done by the
Because I
quality.
asked you, that's not
Yeah,
what I've
I've
done.
done that.
There's
I've done the
quality,
exact
there's
same
enjoyment,
thing.
there's a number of
In my
factors.
opinion, it's a mixture of everything.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
mixed
exactly.
up. I've
But
mixed.
also, like you
Watching
put-
Spain
I
is
would-
incredible.
I was much rather watch a La Liga game than a Bundesliga game.
I think it's because I watch it a lot more than everyone else. I
Wasn't it
would-
only like 2 weeks ago or so? Real Madrid lost to someone who they really shouldn't have lost to.
They
as
lost
well.
to Real Betis.
Yeah, exactly.
Atletico lost to Getafe this week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, even as you mentioned,
tell me that's not competitive.
also even as Lloyd mentioned in Purple Show, was it a team in 18th beat the team in was it like
In
5th or something?
Yeah.
That's
But
ridiculous.
I'd also say that if you look at the past winners, outside of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, the last winner was in the early
Yeah.
2000s.
And look at the last winners in the Bundesliga.
Other than last year, was literally who?
All Bayern
Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Leverkusen. Yeah, no, I'm aware.
Yeah.
No,
So
I'm aware.
Dortmund don't even come into that though, because at that point, what Bayern Munich went like 6 or 7 years in a row.
But it's
Also-
still more
also-
recent
also,
than the Liga.
you've got Athletic Bilbao, who only take players from the Basque region.
One region,
and they're
yes.
still the fourth, and they've like, the fourth most successful team in the league, and they've had European.
They're not the fourth most successful team in the league.
They are.
They are.
By twice
Sevilla.
trophies.
Can I say though?
They've
If
won
Europa
more.
Leagues.
They've won more of the league titles. They've won more of the cups.
But that must not take into account in Europa Leagues, and I'm certain.
No, I'm saying in the
on
league.
La
On
Liga
the
is
best
this,
leagues.
on this as well, because like if I was doing this seriously and thinking about it, I wouldn't have put La Liga 8th. They'd be second.
Yes.
The La Liga are
That's no
second.
problem.
I'm glad
If you go on
cleared that
quality,
up.
yeah.
No, yeah.
Quality, yeah,
Obviously, I don't actually think La Liga's the 8th like worst league. That's like, come on. I wouldn't
Eighth
list off in
best,
2
not
minutes.
eighth worst.
But I think putting them 4th is more, in a way, more of an insult
Yeah.
to them 8th
It's
because
not- it's not
At least you know it's a
eighth-
joke.
At least you know 8th is a joke. 4th, he means that.
Exactly.
I think they are the second best quality.
I'd
league.
rather So what have
The
you
other
gone
three
then?
leagues.
4th for me is the other obvious one. That has to be Eredivisie because I haven't had them yet. They're
Wow.
obviously.
You see, this is the thing. I think that's kind of high.
No, because if you think, obviously, I'd have put La
He used up his
Liga
other
second,
sports.
and then that would have bumped everything else down one.
Ah.
Right,
so
okay,
they would
yeah.
be 5th.
So would
They
have bumped.
be
Okay,
5th,
fair
but
enough. I hear that.
They're better than the Liga Portugal, in my opinion. The players, the clubs as well. If you were to name European clubs, I might be wrong because this might be my perception, but I think if you were to name 20 clubs, you'd probably name Ajax before any of the Portuguese clubs. Probably maybe.
I think you'd name more Portuguese clubs.
I think you'll name
think
you'll name
you've got-
Sporting.
You've got
or
PSV, you've
Porto.
got Feyenoord.
Sporting, Benfica, Porto is
Um,
such a three.
I know,
But
but
the
I
only
like
thing is,
and the
right,
players as well. The players as well who've come through that league is
But I
it's
think
mental.
other than that, I think okay, cool. You've got those three, but
It's been
then
a long podcast.
well, exactly. I think other than those three, you've got Utrecht, Feyenoord, PSV, Ajax, Fortuna is a well-known club. Twente is a well-known club.
Yeah.
Heerenveen is a well-known club. Even just outside of just I think if you were told to name Dutch leagues, Dutch teams and Portuguese teams, I feel like a lot of people would know more Dutch teams than they would
That's
Portuguese.
my mum, for example, she doesn't follow football. She'd know who Ajax were, but if I was to ask her to name a Portuguese club, she'd probably just name a big city in Portugal and say, "Oh, do Lisbon have a club or something?"
Yeah.
And she wouldn't
Okay,
know what
fair
they're
enough.
called. Like, I think for me, especially Ajax, it kind of carries it a bit.
Okay.
They make the league prestigious for me.
Fair enough.
All right, so my fourth, and I'm going to say third at the same time. Bundesliga fourth, Serie A third.
Yeah. Okay.
Who else has got Serie A third? Me.
Serie A third.
Yep.
Third.
I'm strong.
I
Oh,
haven't.
The competitiveness
Yeah.
of that league has
I'm
massively
I'm
raised.
battling
Serie A
between it.
third.
I've gone Premier League third.
Fuck yourself.
I might make an on-decision switch, but it's most likely going to be.
But here's the thing. I'm
Well,
thinking.
I
I think I'm gonna
do,
swap it.
but technically,
I
I
think-
have the Serie A third, but because I put
To,
La
to,
Liga
to be
second.
fair, I'm gonna swap it. I'm gonna go La Liga third, Premier League second.
And Serie A first.
Yeah, I just think
I
it's the
back
most
it.
competitive league in terms of
I-
competitiveness.
Wow.
What
Top three
I,
so quickly.
also, I think what I like watching as well. I think it's just the most competitive. You have the most changes, and consistently you have clubs doing well.
I know.
Okay, one second.
No, Premier
Top.
League still
Then
wins
you,
that.
we'll just
Yeah.
very quickly say your top three, and then we'll talk about
yeah.
them
Premier,
afterwards.
Premier League, La Liga, Serie A.
Okay.
So I've got so third is Bundesliga, second Serie A, and first Premier League. If I had La Liga in there, I'd have probably third Serie A, second La Liga, first Premier League. But it's
Okay.
close between La Liga
Right.
and Serie A.
Okay.
Okay.
Very
I
close.
went Serie A third, Bundesliga second.
You're
Prem first.
delusional.
Okay. La Liga third, Premier League second, Serie A first.
No, I start. Yeah.
And I've gone Serie A third, La Liga second, Premier League first.
Okay, it's going to be a
order I
last
would.
substitution. I'm going to drop La Liga to third, put Serie A second, and Premier League first.
You don't understand how exciting the Serie A is. The Serie
That's
A,
why I
like,
put it first.
No, I know.
Just for that
I've
one
had-
reason.
It's
Let's,
also,
let's
to be fair-
do this quickly. I'm going to say you could say a piece on each of your leagues as to why they're in their certain positions. Start from Liam, and then that's going to.
Well,
finish
all
that.
I'll do then,
let's do that.
I'll just run through what UEFA have said is the top.
Okay. And I'll do it after that. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I don't need to talk about Premier Leagues first.
Yeah.
It's the Premier League.
Yeah.
Most
Simple.
competitive league. in the world.
Okay, I've learned to love the Italian league since doing the Purple Show. It is such an exciting league. No one at the moment is secure at the top.
Yeah.
Atalanta could win the league. Inter could win the league. Napoli could win the league. There's a battle at the moment for Champions League. You know, you got AC Milan gunning for it. You got Juventus, who's rebuilding after falling off after being on top on so long. You got Bologna in a battle for the Champions League. It's so good this season. It is so good this season.
So that's why La Liga
And
third.
obviously, third place, I got La Liga. The history of that league, it's insane. Two best teams in the history in that league. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, Serie A third because I think the quality of the other two leagues for me is a little bit better. You look at some of the starting 11s for certain teams. Like, don't get me wrong, looking at Juventus, for example, losing 4-0 at home to, of course, a very good Atalanta side, but at the same time, you look at the starting 11, you compare it to what it was 20, 30 years ago. There's been a massive shift, and over time, they don't seem to do as well in Europe anymore, Italy, which is something that I've noticed. It's sort of now English sides do better in Europe than Italian sides, and it wasn't always that way. So for me, that's the reason why they're in third. And then La Liga in second, of course, just because, as you can say, the Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, all top teams. Athletic Club doing really well. Villarreal in fifth. And you've still got teams down the table. Girona got a top 4 finish last season. Valencia, one of the most historic clubs, are currently in a relegation battle. They finished in the top 8, the top 10 last season, I think it was. You know, it's a really competitive league. And then for me, Premier League, I mean, you've got internationals playing in the 16th and 17th places in the league. It's a joke.
Loads of them as well.
There are internationals in the national league.
the Premier League. The Premier League is the Super League. It is. The amount of money that you get from the Championship, which was one of the points, it is the Super League. The free relegation teams, they can't keep up with the other 17 teams in the league as of right now because of the quality is so high of the other 17.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why it's first.
Jamie?
I think, look, for me, the top 3 can be interchangeable at any point. It very much depends on who does well in Europe, kind of how competitive the league is. For example, I think the only reason I've got Premier League now in second would be Liverpool's running away with the league. Man City pretty much have won it for the last 4 years or 5 years. I think they've won, is it 5 in the last 6 or something stupid like
Something
that?
like
I think there's just been one team that continuously dominates per season. I know the last 2 seasons Arsenal have been close, but in the end, Man City have dominated it pretty much. As I said, Liverpool 18 points clear this season. I think the thing with me is the reason I've got Serie A first is because it's so tight at the top. And it's not even like it's just this year. Every year is so tight. You've got clubs doing well consistently in Champions League. You know, you look at European teams. When you're in a Europa League and you come up against an Italian team, you know it's going to be tough. And you don't think, oh, you know, we can walk this. You know, you come up against... You know, you come up against some teams in Spain, you think, you know, Girona Champions League, you think, okay, it could be an easy game. Even the Premier League, when a team like Man United is not in form, you come up against them, you think, okay, we can actually get something out of this. I think, you know, even if either of the Milan teams are not playing well, you're looking at this game going, shit, this is going to be difficult. I think that's why it's first.
I think
Right.
the best thing that's ever happened to Serie A is Juventus losing the monopoly on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I think that's why as well. There's no monopoly from one club. Spain, you've got both Barcelona and Real Madrid. Premier League, got Man City, Liverpool
top
at the
6.
moment. Yeah. And whereas I think just in Italy, it's just there's no top 6. Anyone can be there. Bologna's about to get Europe Champions League.
Yeah.
Like, it's
For a
ridiculous.
second season, they're right.
Yeah.
Alright, Henry, be quick.
I'm not going to speak on the Prem. I'm not going to speak on Serie A because you guys have covered that really well, and I agree with your thoughts. So I'm just going to speak on the Bundesliga. Firstly, it's a little bit personal preference. I watch and follow it a lot more than you guys do. And I just really enjoy watching it. I think there's a lot more English coverage of the Bundesliga. You have a lot more English-speaking Germans, and they have a lot more pundits and there's a lot more English coverage of it. Secondly, it's the second highest TV commercial deal in the world. So outside the Premier League, this is where the money's at, is the Bundesliga. The rivalries, like Der Klassiker, I love Der Klassiker more than... Like, it's one of my favourite rivalries of all time. It's
I
just something...
disagree with that.
No, I love Der Klassiker.
Hey, it's personal preference.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was
fair
just going
enough.
to say, on camera for another Red Shirt, could we do top 10 best rivalries?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think
Good
we
shout.
did one similar earlier in the year from a book, but we might just do our top 10 best rivalries, to be fair. Also, European success. Bayern are one of the most successful European teams of all time. I'd also say, you look at, again, when we speak about international success, I think the German national team it is or is almost the most successful league nation in the world. If you look at World Cups and European Championships,
He's not wrong.
I know they slapped up Brazil,
and,
but
and
we're
there
still
are
bigger.
far fewer. There are still loads, but there are far fewer Germans in Europe than most of them do play for Bayern or Borussia Dortmund or Bayer Leverkusen or any of
I
them.
will say that is a selection thing, though.
Yeah.
A little
If you,
bit.
it's similar to in England. Like generally, you play in England because you're going to get called for the
Exactly.
England
national
national
I
team.
think that's why Musiala played, decided to switch his allegiance to Germany.
Yeah.
Because he knew that if he was English, he wouldn't play it because he wasn't in the English
Exactly.
league.
Kane
That
had to
has
get-
changed now.
Well,
But
this is the thing. Kane built up his name here, then went off to Bayern Munich, and he's already still in the England squad. I feel like if he'd gone earlier in his career, he'd be looked over a lot more than just continuing to play in England.
And the final point, outside of Barcelona, I know I've put La Liga reasonably low, but the other best team of all time, if you look at the number of trophies in a season, was that Bayern Munich team, who got what was it? Was it six
one
or
was
five?
six.
It
Yeah.
was 6 trophies in a season. Oh, and I've just thought of another one actually. One final really quick point: the quality of managers that have either come out or managed in that league. You look, Pep was there. You look, Nagelsmann, Tuchel. Who else was Bayern manager recently? Klopp was there.
Yeah.
With Borussia, and only at Borussia Dortmund and Mainz as well. They didn't even go to Bayern. Like the managerial quality of German managers, I think is just a step above.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Take the mic.
Right, so yeah, I've got, well, technically I've got Bundesliga, Serie A, Premier League, because I left out La Liga. But if I'm being serious, obviously La Liga's in there. But Bundesliga can't be higher than the other ones, well, the other 3 technically, because the quality's just not lower, but there's always one team that wins it, really. I know last season Leverkusen won it, but that was the first time in how long? Like 10 years or something?
Yeah.
It's something like that, and that's, for me, that's not what I want in a league. You want an interesting title race. The Premier League for me is an interesting one because I put it first purely because you have to, because look at the players who go there. The pull it has, but the one thing I do say is over the last few seasons, potentially the interest in the title races have declined. But you look, there's always other stories elsewhere. Like this season, the relegation battle's over and the title race is over. But look at that battle for Europe; it's still exciting. So there's always something exciting in the Premier League, and the Serie A, as Liam said. I don't need to go into more detail in that, but that league is just constantly, ever since Juventus kind of fell off, that league is always exciting. And as I said, I would have put La Liga in there if I was being serious. But La Liga is such
But you're a
a
joke,
high
man.
quality league.
You're a joke, man.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone said everything that I need to say. I think that the Premier League is the best league in the world. I think the quality from top to bottom is just ridiculous. You don't get that anywhere else. Like the fact that I can kind of like, if you put the bottom 3 of every league in a little tournament competition, the Premier League team's winning it. That's a fact.
I
That's a
reckon so.
fact.
Yeah, for sure.
Whilst I do agree with that, I would also say
Put it in Champions League. I don't think the Premier League team's winning it.
especially with the top 4. Like
But I'm saying if you put the bottom
nations,
3 of all the leagues on our lists and do a tournament,
a
Premier League team will probably be the top 2.
Again,
And
I
it
don't want
would-
to bring us into
yeah.
it, but
Maybe.
Leicester will win that. we wouldn't win anything, but Leicester
Anyway,
will win
this is
that.
my time. I gave you guys your time, so shut the
Yeah.
fuck up.
How would you find a way to bring
Um,
Leicester into everything?
But there is a one point that I think needs to be made is that if you look at the top 4 leagues of Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, Prem, if you asked a fan from that country, I'm pretty sure they would put their league top. And I think there is a level of personal bias, and that's not a problem. As English people, I feel like it's kind of
Yeah, but it's
we're gonna pick it.
Yeah.
And
It's ironic how that's why I'm
no,
the
I-
one.
I
and
know,
Jamie isn't English and has decided not to. I think that's
a
a normal
Spanish
thing.
person who follows the La Liga will probably put La Liga
Carlos.
first.
I think a lot of people recognise.
I only think, and I think the Serie A is also one where the Italians would put them higher. I don't
It's
think.
arguable, yeah.
I don't think Germany will put
I-
themselves
No.
top.
I think
think a few more years of if City and Liverpool winning it will dilute the Premier League's
Yeah.
prestige.
Yeah.
But I think
it's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to
I
happen.
think just before we finish up,
I haven't finished.
Oh,
You guys
fair
all
enough.
fucking butted in like you're
Fair enough.
assholes.
Come on, guys.
La Liga has the 2 greatest sides of all time in their league, so I mean they have to be up there. I think the main reasoning for my picking is the only reason Serie A is in 3rd is because La Liga has Barcelona and Real Madrid, and the reason the Premier League is above at the top is because it's the best league in the world.
Yeah,
fair enough. Just before we finish up, so we'll go through the UEFA. What UEFA have said is the best.
Yeah, just give us the top 10.
Yeah, so we'll start at the bottom. We'll start 10th is Turkey. Then they've gone 9th is Czech Republic. 8th Belgium, 7th Portugal, 6th Netherlands, 5th France, Germany in 4th, Spain in 3rd, Italy 2nd, and England 1st.
Oh, that's a good list.
One thing I think, one thing I think is interesting is
Team or a league?
I think one thing I've
A
put.
league.
I think one thing I think is interesting is they've put Greece as 11th.
I was about to
The
ask
likes
about this.
of Scotland is 14th, Poland's in 16th, Sweden's down in 21st.
I wouldn't
Um,
speak that high.
I don't
You
think
know.
if we done a top 20, Scotland scratches that.
No.
No,
I don't
no,
think
no,
so.
no. But we are very
But-
anti-Scotland.
but-
But Greece is an interesting.
They've
one,
got
right?
Cyprus in 19th,
You
by
think
the way.
Greece
On-
won-
I've seen the stadiums in that league.
No.
Anyway,
But Greece
anyway,
won a
before we
European
get
title in
too
the last
much
3
into the
years.
rest of it, there's a reason why it's a top 10,
Yeah.
not a top 20, is because it takes too much time, and we've already taken up a lot of your time. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Check out all of our socials linked down below. You're an arsehole, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.